Welcome to an Alternate Hue. I'm Hugh Anderson, and this is what caught my attention recently. So let's talk Dow theory. Charles Dow, the founder of the Dow Jones Companies, analyzed the markets from many different perspectives. One of his theories was that the Dow Industrials represented the health of businesses, while the Dow Transportation Index represented transporting goods into and out of those businesses. He contended that they both should be largely in sync. If the industrials were rising but transports weren't, there could be a warning there somewhere. And over the century and a half since he conceived this notion, it's proven worthy of attention. Here is the current state of play, and you'll notice that the Dow has been rising very nicely, while the transports have been gliding slowly lower. What's that mean to us? I suggest we be vigilant. Now, in 1965, Stuart Oskamp did a study where he asked college students to assess a person's personality and then make predictions about what that person would do in certain events in the future. Oskamp gave the students 4 rounds of information, each with increasing detail and specificity. The students were just as accurate in predicting a person's future decisions with 1 round of information as they were with 4. So in other words, more data didn't lead to better accuracy. The only difference was in the students' confidence, which increased with each new bit of data. Now, there are instances where more data equals higher accuracy. Think of controlled environments where the cause and effect are more directly correlated. But when you're assessing something like a complex global financial system comprised of humans, more data does not necessarily equal better decisions. And as we drink from the fire hose of the internet and social media, we may in fact not be getting better, just more cocky. Now, Toby Keith may have said it best, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Well, Toby, that may or may not be true. But hat tip to Brandon at MacroOps for the Oskamp study. Now, Paul Donovan is the chief economist of UBS Global Wealth Management, and he thinks Snickers are to blame. That's right, he thinks voters are mad because of Snickers. Inflation has declined substantially since June of 2022, but according to Mr. Donovan, voters are humans, and humans don't think about inflation rationally. To understand why, he looks to the Snickers bar. More than 12 Snickers bars are sold every second in the United States, according to him, which I find fascinating. Items reported in the consumer price basket are weighted roughly by how much money consumers spend on that item in a year. Television prices, for example, are more important than Snickers bars in the calculation of inflation. However, we probably buy more Snickers bars in a year than we do TVs. And we remember how much we pay for those Snickers bars because of the frequency as compared to the last time we bought a TV. Now, consumers tend to think only about the prices of high-frequency purchases like food and gas, and unfortunately for consumers, food prices are still rising. And just my opinion, but I always find it fascinating that economists think we shouldn't care about that. They like to exclude things to make sure that inflation is the number they predicted it would be. But let's move on. Less than 1/10 of an average household's budget is spent at the supermarket, but the prices paid there dominate the inflation perception of the consumer. The result is that consumers perceive inflation as higher than it actually is. Consumers also frequently focus on price levels. A slowing in the rate of inflation does not mean prices are back to where they were. It simply means prices are rising at a slower pace than before. Consumers who have long experienced a period of low inflation when prices were static want to get back to the price level that they remember. The last time consumer price inflation was above 4% for more than a few months was in the early 90s. If something cost $1 for a decade, consumers resent the fact that today it might cost $1.20, even if the price of that product is no longer rising. Mentally, consumers feel that the product ought to cost $1 and they're nostalgic for the old price. This mentality is one reason for what is sometimes called shrinkflation. Companies will keep the price of their products constant, but shrink the product size. Consumers get less for their money, but the unchanged price prevents negative nostalgia. Remember the commercial for Wendy's? Where's the beef? That's shrinkflation. Until next time, I hope you got something out of this. Don't forget to jump to our website to get more content from my partners. Until we meet again, stay happy, healthy, and prosperous. And stay away from those Snickers bars. I hear they're not good for you.